Place for interviews, Mount Shasta City Park. Here we have Adionai. What's up, brother?
What's up, bro?
Is that the proper pronunciation?
Adionai.
Adionai.
Yeah.
What's the, where does it come from?
My birth name is Adi, which comes from Hebrew, and also it's a Sanskrit word. And Adionai, I was at a festival, Lucidity Festival in 2018, and I shared my name with a powerful medicine woman there. And she had a moment where she was like, I think there's something more there that wants to come through. And she was like tuning in, and she said, Adionai. Adionai, sit with that. So I sat with it, asked the universe, and yeah. And I play around between different names. I've gone through like a few different names, Adionai for a few years, and Adama, another one. And then I went back to Adi, and recently I just came back to Adionai. So I'm always listening to like what vibration, what wants to come through. Yeah.
So you're obviously called to that, but once you've embraced it, how does it affect you and like your behavior patterns and your personality? Because that's something that's outside of my realm of experience.
Yeah. And Adi, by the way, means rare jewel in Hebrew. Mm-hmm. Adi in Sanskrit means primordial, the first. Adi Shakti, Adi Yogi, Adi is a common Sanskrit term to mean the original something. And Adionai, when I asked Spirit what it meant, I was shown a vision that it means the seer of the true light.
Wow.
So Onai, and after that doing research, Onai in Zimbabwe means a seer or a watcher. And I just found out that in the Yawanawa language, Nai means heaven. So anyway, there's aspects there that I'm still finding out what it is. So it's really a journey of like discovery. I just listen to, it feels like it's not my idea to change my name ever. I'm listening to what the universe, if you will, or spirit, if you will, wants me to wear. And it feels like Adi holds more of my human essence, more of my Adionai seems to hold more of my celestial divine essence. Adama is another name I've gone by, which literally means earth in Hebrew, so that holds more of my earth essence.
Having grown up at Mormon, it sounds to me like Adam and Moroni mixed. So, Moroni was their prophet at the end of the Book of Mormon stage.
Moroni?
Yeah, Moroni. They believe, I don't need to get into it, but they believe he like buried their scriptures, and it was the accounts of people that left Jerusalem and actually had gone and started like the Mayans and the Incans. So they believe the Mayans and Incans, and whatever. I don't believe that, but they believe the Mayans and the Incans were started by a lost tribe of Israel that had splintered off, and that they eventually worked their way up into North America, where they were eventually persecuted for their beliefs. And then that dude who started it found these hidden tablets of gold where the scriptures were written, but his name was Moroni. And yeah, and his father's name was Mormon, and that's where the Book of Mormon comes from. And they hid it, and then they died.
Profound.
I love learning about different people's belief systems. I don't know. I think sometimes people think that if I talk about it, I like believe it's true. But I think that maybe that's how the pattern of life, what people do. They don't talk about something unless they believe it's true. I love talking about shit.
I'm fascinated by religions. I definitely study.
Cool.
Studying more. Yeah.
Do you like do any research online? Do you go to like YouTube or anything for?
Yeah, I'm studying a lot of different religions. I have I study on YouTube. I'm reading a lot of books now. I also take courses online with teachers. I'm studying Kashmir Shaivism, which is a branch of Indian Hindu Tantra, non-dual Tantra.
So these are probably, feel free to elaborate as much as you like on anything, because you're probably dealing with a lot of people who don't know any of this.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. It's all like, I mean, I'm interested in the way that different religions all speak to and point to different depths of consciousness, and how they also relate to one another, and how they are similar. So there's certain, so there's non-duality is the basic premise that means non-separation. It means oneness. Oneness is a basic spiritual principle that I base all spiritual inquiry off of, and I think every spiritual teaching and tradition at its heart is pointing to that oneness. So I try to find the oneness and the unifying principle in different traditions, and specifically find the traditions that speak in very nuanced, comprehensive ways to that oneness and how to realize that oneness.
So you're talking about the correlating patterns between the religions, or kind of?
Yeah,
or that's just a part of it?
That's a part of it, the correlating patterns for sure.
So that's like part of the oneness that you believe exists, like the ultimate truth type thing?
Yeah, there's one truth, there's one existence.
You believe in one truth or multiple truths?
There's one thing.
I like this.
It's existence.
People in different videos of the past week have discussed truth and different truths or single truths. I like getting different perspectives.
Yeah, well, there's truth literally means what is, and what is cannot be divided by the human mind. The human mind is what divides things and what classifies and labels and reifies and storyfies, ideifies things. But behind that, there's just is. That is truth, and there's nothing but that.
Yeah.
There's nothing but the truth. Everything is truth. In terms of giving words to truth, there's infinite ways to give words to truth and infinite ways to experience the infinite reality, because the truth is infinite. The truth is that there is one unending, infinite thing that is also, and also in that sense, there's no thing. There's no one thing there. So, as much as we could have a truth or an idea of truth, that truth is also inherently meaningless or empty, because everything is so infinitely vaster than one idea we could give it that there's infinite relative truths. There's infinite ways to experience truth, and that's valid because that's a valid experience.
But truth itself
But just because it's an experience doesn't mean it's the absolute reality. The absolute reality is actually beyond all experience.
Like objective truths compared to subjective truths.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother tangent though.
Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna jump. Topic's crazy. So do you channel a lot of these energies into your freestyle whenever you do the beautiful music, which is where I met you in Ashland that other night? Is that what you're doing? Is channeling this into that?
Yeah, when I freestyle, I mean, I try. For me, it's like a direct way to surrender my ego and to be a vessel for the intelligence of divine creativity and a higher intelligence to come through. Because it's literally like I don't know what I'm gonna say in the next minute.
What does it feel like, brother?
When I'm in the flow,
when it's just flowing through you.
It's hard to say. It feels good, but it also like I'm not fully there to feel it or to narrate it. So like, it's nice for me to have reflections, like people that such as yourself that tell me like, "Whoa, that was a great freestyle. Like you have a gift," because I'm not. Like my ego isn't there to like fully experience it and to like, so I don't even remember, because it's like the surrender of the ego, it's surrender of the conceptualizing, self-referencing self.
You don't remember the drip of that cosmic yoni lip?
I do now.
The shit was hilarious.
I've just done so many endless freestyles, but it does feel like an opportunity for the divine joke, for the divine synchronicity, for the harmonic order and the playfulness of life to come through. It feels like
you were. I feel like that night you were channeling a lot of the fun, playful, platonic, flirty, safe, sexual energy that was going on there. Like no one was trying to go and like, I don't know, maybe, but it didn't feel like anyone's intentions were set to like sexual activity. We were all being very friendly, kind of touchy, and I'm from Pennsylvania, so it was a whole nother experience for me. It was kind of cool being like a part of that. But you were like channeling it through your music, and it just was so funny because we all just started getting closer and closer, and it was a beautiful moment.
That was definitely we were the topic, the theme of the night was like we got into some cosmic eroticism, those of like the kind of the sensuality of like of relationship with the greater universe.
And through that yourself and others.
And it got to so it's just creativity is a way to just purely express that everything to purely express that in a way where it can open up magical worlds. And when I'm channeling, I try for it to be because what we're channeling is a reflection of a lot of our intentions in our life and what's going on in our inner worlds. And for me, it's like it just always comes back to that prayer of trying to make things allow a higher consciousness to come through, a deeper prayer, deeper wisdom, a wisdom stream to come through that's not just like trying to rap to sound good or to look good or to like brag or to like, I'm just surrendering to like, I'm trying to bring more wisdom, bring more light, bring more love into the field.
You answered my next question already.
And
That's amazing.
And it also adds that component where through the creativity of the freestyle flow, there's a certain like stream of style and of swag that flows through the particular like art form of rap and of song as it's developed over the years through culture, that allows for like many aspects of the human experience to be like opened up, that are more not just super sincere and like you can like tune into those higher realms and wisdom pieces, but you can bring that through in a more playful and a more relatable and a cool and even a sexy, like there's all these aspects, and it gets to be kind of integrated together in an interactive way where it's not just some dry thing, but it's a living, embodied, playful experience of and it requires a lot of foolishness, it requires a lot of absurdity to allow yourself, because the fool is really an archetype that I hold really dear to me and has served me in my process of just the fool being kind of the 0 point. It's the 0 card in the tarot deck. It's the first card before even number 1, because it's that 0 space where there's nothing, there's no mind. You have to release your ego and identity, and you just plunge into the abyss, and you let the universe catch you, and you let the universe move through you because you're completely out of the way. And the way that the universe tends to express when there's no like trying to be put together in that way, the universe is quite the absurd song and dance. The universe is just a playful, like there's so much energy available to us in these cosmos, and they can be really intense, and they do drive us mad. You know, Ramakrishna, one of the teachers I like, he says humanity is the earth is an insane asylum. Everyone's literally mad about something, whether they're people being driven insane by money, by love, by whatever it is. He says, so if I'm here in this insane asylum and we have to be insane here, I'm gonna be insane for God. I'm gonna be mad for God. That's what I choose. And it's kind of so yeah, that night was really special, freestyling together, because it reminds me of that playfulness, of that joy, of the embodied experience of like, man, we get so serious in life. I get so serious, and on our spiritual quest too. And there is an element of sincerity that's really important to cultivate in this world, because there's a way to also be playful and goofy in order to be distracted or to avoid certain things that are there to root into. But it's a balance. So that night just really allowed me to remember this like playful funniness, this embodied experience that is nothing. It's not anything you can read in a book. It's not anything you can write beforehand. It's being in the literal, living, spontaneous dance of the universe as it is. Nothing pre-planned, nothing packaged. Just the universe expressing itself. And when we're out of the way for that to happen, it's infinitely better than when we try to package it a certain way. And sometimes there's humor in that inappropriateness, that going beyond the lines a little bit, because and if you can make art out of it, and if you can weave it in a way that is relatable and is safe, freestyling can be a beautiful therapeutic process too, for helping to integrate and helping to bring to the light and facilitate group experiences and journeys through the art of storytelling into dimensions of humanity that are like hard to speak about and hard to and hard to feel and hard to experience. But that's the art of storytelling. That's the art of being a bard. That's the art of being a fool. Is you get to bring light, you get to bring color, you get to bring life to things that are otherwise too challenging or hidden or obscure or abstract to touch, to the sacred, to the mystical, to the transcendent, to the absurd, and it just grounds all of that. So it's quite profound, and I don't. It really feels like that I have nothing to do with it. Of course, there is like the amount of practice that I put in, hours and hours and hours, years after years after years of practicing. But you're not practicing a skill necessarily. You're practicing kind of more getting out of the way. And some people do practice. Of
yourself.
Yeah, instead of practicing to create, like to be better at something, to be more of something, you're practicing being less of something, like less in the way. And for some people, the art of music and freestyling and any expression, people are trying too hard. They're worried about what people are going to think about them. They're worried about what they're going to say and whether it's going to sound cool, and they're using the mind. But that's where art gets corrupted. That's where it loses connection to its native purpose on a cosmic level of being a transmission vehicle for higher consciousness, higher realms to move through and make themselves alive, living experiences here on this earth. That's the literal key purpose and potential and power of art and music. And it's so corrupted because people are worried about what people think about them, whether they're doing it right, whether people think they're cool, whether people are going to pay them money for it. So, but for me, my relationship with music and this art of freestyling is like, I need to be reminded that it's what I do, because when it feels like it's doing me.
Wow.
So it's like, and people ask me, like, someone asked me last week, it's like, how are you such a good musician? I have no idea. I don't know what music is. Music knows what I am better than I know what music is. Like for me, it's like, it's so much just this gift that I have, I guess, where I can just, like, I become the music, it becomes me, it comes through me, and because there's so little of my identity has anything to do with it, for me, I'm in a process of, like, being reminded by people and needing to remind myself more, like, oh yeah, I am a musician, this is what I do have these gifts. Because it is such a transcendent process, but for the sake of, like, integrating these gifts and working well with them and serving them to the world, I have to remind myself that I can do this, and that I'm meant to do this, so that I can keep following through and being true to what wants to come through. But otherwise, I don't know. It just happens. It's a beauty, and it's the ancient practice of trance. Like, there's the Emerald podcast talks about this. It's a new podcast that people really love, but it talks about how, like, trance and ritual, like ritual trance states, are the most foundational practice for humanity in all traditions around the whole world.
Yeah.
Like, in order for a village, for a tribe, for a society to be sane, to be harmonized with its human roots and its organic design for how it's meant to live on this planet, there have to be communal opportunities, regular communal opportunities of normalized ritual trance states, where we just surrender to a deeper trance. That's why we love ecstatic dance. That's why we love drum circles here in the back.
That's why I love freediving. That's why I love the cold water therapy. Like, you can't do those things without going into trance state.
And that's why people overcompensate with alcohol and with all these other things that numb them and that dissociate them, and that yeah, there's so many ways that people put themselves into trances, even like getting riled up and like rage politics and like all these things that put them in group trances where they just lose their sense of self in some greater force.
Yeah, wow,
when
that's
it's
interesting.
not channeled for the sake of being a vessel of healing, of love, of magic, of light, because we don't have that spiritual cosmology and context that honors us as vessels for that.
Yeah.
Then we become channels for numbness and for anger, and you know, we lose our shit in other ways instead of in sacred intentional ways.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, that's a fun little rant. Some good stuff.
It's good. It's funny because like a lot of times while talking to you, I can take some of it, but what's nice is it makes you wonder like how much you miss a normal conversation, because I can watch the video and it's kind of like when you read a book a second or third time. I can gain like a lot of your deeper context by being able to like watch this video once or twice. So it's kind of cool because like I got a grasp of what you're saying, but like I can get a deeper understanding, and it's just cool. Like you don't really get those moments in life, and you know, it is a reliance on technology, but at the same time, it's like,
man,
it's interesting.
Yeah. Is there a way I could communicate that would be more helpful? Like,
as far as what?
As far as like helping, like, is there a way I could?
Oh no, this is great. I just it's just beautiful, and it's like subjects I don't know about, and I love that. I love to learn. So it just gives me.
That resonates with me because I'm reading a book and I'm reading it a second time over, and I'm a big fan of like reading something over 3 times, like.
Yeah.
Because we're inundated with so much stimulation in this modern world that we've lost the art of really being present to grasp something and to devote ourselves to it for more than just. So I appreciate you cherishing and valuing this conversation enough to be like, actually, this is something that like I want to come back to and to devote presence to, because there's a million things vying at our attention. There's so many people here, so many people so many things on the internet you could be watching and doing, but to really dedicate to one thing and cast all the distractions aside and say, I'm actually going to study this. This brings us back to the topic of like, I've been enjoying studying and researching different things more and reading books and like that is a lost art form that is like really important. Is the art of studying and devoting to something, to really grasping and getting a deeper sense of knowledge, specifically spiritual things, I think, things that really resonate with us. So I appreciate that you recognize that in what I just shared.
Yeah, you know, it is a little hard when I'm interviewing because, like, normally I could just, and I am focusing fully in order to know what to say, but sometimes I, like, hold on to threads of things I might try to say then. So my attention's split like 8 ways, and it is tough. And on that note, let me think. I had a fun question, which I was just thinking of.
You could interrupt me at any time, too.
Oh, of course. No, this is great. I love, sometimes people need a little more direction, and sometimes they need less. Here comes Freya. Freya's the cool one that does the freestyling. Maybe she'll come in and join organically. Yeah, she'll come and say hi. All right, so if you could have a freestyle jam session with anyone, you want to come say hi? Come say hi.
I can say hi for a moment.
You don't have to stay, yeah. So if you could have you're going to like this question. If you could have
Hi.
How's it going?
Freya, this is that guy I was telling you about, Adionai.
Hi, I'm Freya. You too. What's
So-
your name?
Adionai.
Adionai. Hello.
Hello.
So if you could have a jam session with anyone from like history, any pop culture, historical person, you could pick like 4 or 5 people to jam with. It could be someone in your family that's passed or someone that's here, someone. You could pick like a couple people. Who would you jam out with? You don't have to stay. I was just hi.
Okay, yeah, I'll be back. Well, I mean, I'll be around. I'm questing, so.
Yeah, quest away.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Happy answers.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question, man. How many do I get to pick?
As many as you want. I'm just leaving an open dialogue for you to explore something
I
fun.
just met Reggie Watts last week. Do you know Reggie Watts?
I suck at names.
Yeah. So Reggie Watts would be one of them. He's like the pioneer of like humor, improvised humor music. Like he's like the pioneer of like looping music and just like on the spot, spontaneous freestyle, but like in a hilarious way.
Yeah.
So Reggie Watts, man, Harry Mack.
Harry Mack.
Yeah, he's the greatest freestyler right now.
Really?
Yeah. Those are the 2 generic ones, but man, Ape Chimba, he's really bringing through a whole nother level. He's someone really to look into. He's like pioneering the next wave of music right now with like integrating like shamanic tribal stuff with like his own he like channels languages, like light languages, and makes incredible songs like with them. There's another band that does similar thing, which is, they used to be Mar de Leva, now they're the Aware Project. I forget the name of the guy, but they have a singer who he just channels on stage like light language. And actually my favorite place to go musically actually is not necessarily even channeling words, but that's nice to turn on minds and stuff, but it's channeling different sounds and light languages and tones, and going on multi-dimensional journeys, channeling different spiritual streams that transcend actual words. So that's actually my favorite way of channeling. You can, as an art of frequency and tuning into dimensions that take you places beyond where the mind can take you when you're trying to find words.
Dude, we should both eat some mushrooms and then talk about this stuff on an interview. And then not tell anyone we're on mushrooms.
That would be amazing. That would be a trip.
I've interviewed someone in Slab City. We're both on a bunch of acid. You'd never know. The interview was fucking good.
No, I bet, man.
We were talking about creative pursuits.
The channel is amazing when on the medicines. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought I'd give you a chance to maybe say any final words. I can think of 30 more questions. You're fucking interesting, but...
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I can just ask you questions as a friend later, so...
Yeah.
These guys only get a sneak peek into your presence.
Yeah, do you want to...
Anything you feel called to share. All right, I got one. It's going to be really hard. You want something hard?
Sure.
Tell me one of the things you most regret. We're going to end it on a weird note.
I'll say a generic one.
I like that. Yeah, that's why I said a thing,
of like a theme that, like, I guess the details of like where and when because I think it's just a general theme that plays itself over.
Yeah.
I regret the times I didn't show up fully. I regret the times when my heart was moving me to like expand in a certain way, to show up in a certain way, to let the energy of love, of joy, of courage, of trust, of innocence invite me forth into the collective setting I was in, to interact with the group field and with certain people, maybe introduce myself to someone that I admired and was shy about, or maybe dance a certain, like, you know, like allow myself to take a inspired risk in the direction of more expression, more love, more embodied intimacy. And instead I cowered, or I stayed small in the belief that I don't have it in me, or I'm too scared of rejection, or whatever stories of not being worthy of showing up in that love and that fear that I won't be received in a good way. So all the times where I didn't show up fully and didn't listen to and trusted that deeper calling, and instead gave into stories of self-doubt, stories of victimhood, of I can't, of it's not worth it, because we could die tomorrow. Everybody is an innocent, beautiful soul, even though we humans can seem intimidating to each other because we love each other so much, and we also think humans are fucking cool. We're like, oh my god, look at that beautiful human over there. Who am I to show up and make a connection here? So I've always found when I've done that there's just a heart there that is actually, these humans are not separate beings, they're not on higher pedestals than us. Life is ours, and we are all one, truly. Every soul is of the same God essence, of the same heart, of the same innocence, and every soul is here to wake up into more love, into more innocence, into more spontaneous play. And so we could die tomorrow. We might as well let the innocence of our heart shine and guide our way, and not be afraid, not make excuses for why it's not safe to do that, because every heart in the world is waiting on the permission, the invitation, the reflection of that spontaneous surrender to the heart's calling, in order to be given permission and inspiration to rise up to that occasion. So might as well, while on earth, take the leap and show up and express, and because you never know if you'll be here tomorrow, and at the end of the day, it's fucking worth it to fucking give it a shot and live.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm fighting being shy and not being sociably awkward and in group situations, and so I guess I'm feeling spontaneously called to go dance. They're really letting loose.
Hey.
So maybe I'll see you over there.
Hey, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
bro.
dude, for sure. Thank you
for being curious, and yeah.
I'm excited that, you're in Ashland. I have your number, and yeah, we're friends, so I'm excited.
Cool, I hope that was good. I hope I said good things.
Dude, they love you.
Cool.
They're still watching. Bye.
Bye, bro.